Well, ClearSpeed's background really came from the military, where they had to risk at very large scale how they risk assess individuals in very difficult terrain situations. So from that background, it meant that the solution had to be super accurate, because if you got that wrong, it's literally a matter of life or death. I think fortunately or unfortunately, we get categorized in voice analytics because we use technology to create a solution using voice, technology and voice together. But we are very different though. So we don't do voice printing. We don't look at stress levels. We don't look at pauses and stuff like that. We basically take a very short burst of sound energy. So just by asking typically three questions, we just get a yes or no response. So we don't even have enough sound to be able to kind of do identify the individual, basically. And from that, we can identify whether there's risk in those responses or there isn't. So kind of think of it a little bit like needles in a haystack. So what we can do is we clear away the hay so that the experts can then focus on the needles. So it is very different to the way most voice analytics solutions work. There's a number of challenges, but I think in particular, because of the rising cost of living expenditure and stuff like that, there's a bunch of quite unique challenges now that are starting to emerge. So the challenge when consumers basically have rising costs is that they will typically see insurance as a luxury. And then when you see things as a luxury, you typically don't want to spend money. But if it's an essential product, then you will try and buy it as cheap as possible. So that means people will change the way they describe the risk, for instance. So you're not really charging the right premium. So that's a challenge. The second challenge you get is that when you have claims, individuals might exaggerate those claims because, again, they're short of cash. So they may have knocked over a 42-inch TV, but they're really claiming for an 85-inch TV. Or people literally will invent claims. So their Rolex watch just got stolen, for instance. The big challenge for insurers, though, is we typically know from research that 30% of people are generally very good, typically can't be swayed. About 30% are wired to do wrong things. And then we have this 40% in the middle that can be swayed depending on their situation. And when money is super tight, they can be swayed towards them not doing the honest way of behaving, basically. The problem we have in the market is that none of the solutions, claims technology solutions, are designed to identify these types of scenarios. And that's basically where ClearSpeed comes in, because we can identify them, because we're talking to the individual and we're basically assessing the risk level based on your particular responses right now. Well, those kind of challenges appear in lots of different scenarios. So they appear in sports integrity when people are taking backhanders for throwing games. Those similar situations occur when refugees are coming over from other countries, and we have to be able to assess very quickly which are the ones that there's no risk, we should just fast track them through, or the ones that we really should kind of look at in a little bit more detail, a little bit like a metal detector at the airport. So you get told to empty your pockets, walk through. If it's a green light, go, get on your plane. If it goes red, though, it just means you just get pulled to one side and an expert will basically just pat you down. So we're effectively that virtual metal detector, but using voice. And so we're in the insurance industry, we're used at F0 stage to fast track claims. So all of those people that have a genuine claim, absolutely clean, why should they have to go through all those kind of fraud analytics type solutions? So they can be paid very quickly. And then the ones that we identify, the SIU team will basically just spend a little bit more time being able to focus on them. But we can be used right up front to fast track claims, and then secondly, right in the SIU team, we can be used to basically help them understand where they should focus. So far it's quite interesting. We've only been here a few minutes, but just bumping into a whole bunch of people that I know is always a great experience, just because you kind of get to catch up with people. But I'm really looking forward to some of the really interesting sessions that